Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Sam. I'm a psychologist and meditation teacher, and in this video we are going to look at a very simple practice that can alleviate what we sometimes refer to as morning anxiety. So what I'm talking about here is something that most of you will probably have experienced. So when you get up in the morning, there might be a few moments of calm, but then very quickly the mind starts going into these thought spirals. We start to worry about what lies ahead of us, how we can cope with all the challenges we might encounter, and subsequently we feel a lot of anxiety in our body-mind system. So what can we do so that we don't immediately fall into this anxiety trap? Well, I'm first going to speak about this on a more theoretical basis so that we understand the underlying concepts or ideas, and then I'm going to lead you through this short and simple practice. So the basic premise of this practice is that very often in our ordinary way of functioning, we are operating from what we could call the ego manager. So it is this sense of being hooked on thought, feeling oneself to be the thinker of thought, and directing selective attention. Very often we feel that we are located up in the head, and we are now making use of our cognitive faculties, we are controlling the body, and we are very much identified with this perspective of being this ego manager. Now, crucially, this ego manager functioning is nothing bad. We're not trying to get rid of this. But this simple shift we're going to look at simply explores the possibility of not living from or as this ego manager. We are going to recognize a dimension of awareness, of consciousness, that is inherent to each and every being, but which very often just goes overlooked. So when we recognize this awareness and we learn to live from it, we are still in touch, we are still aware of this ego manager function. But now, instead of being identified with it, we can receive its information and act from awareness, act from this grounded and complete presence. And this has a very different capacity or feel when we are engaging with our day-to-day problems or challenges. It has less of this sense of being overwhelmed, because the ego manager inevitably will feel overwhelmed. It can only do so much. It cannot really always adequately calm our anxious nervous system. But when we are aware from awareness, we are unburdening that manager from this duty of having to run the show. And subsequently, this allows the nervous system to calm down considerably. So let's get right into it. And this is something you can do, as I said, right after you get up. So you get up out of bed, and before you really get going, just take a few minutes, it doesn't have to be long, to re-recognize awareness and to then live from it. So you may, for example, sit down where it's comfortable, and you may look out of a window, which can be very helpful. And now as you're doing so, just have the sense of noticing the space that is all around you and in front of you. So as you're looking out into the room, just become aware not just of the objects that you're seeing, but this spaciousness that contains all of this. And likewise, become aware of sounds appearing all around you and become aware of the space in which they are appearing. So we are just getting in touch with this basic peace, calm, and spaciousness that is always already here. And now as we are resting here, just notice this functioning of the ego manager. Notice how it's continuously sending its messages, thinking thoughts, thinking ahead, trying to gain control. And now as you are aware of this thinking mechanism, just allow yourself to unhook from this and allow this thinking, this activity of thought to just be another appearance in the spaciousness. So the room is appearing in this openness, sounds are appearing, and the thinker, these thoughts that are rising and projecting, are appearing. So what is clear right now is that we are not this thinking loop. We are this presence which is aware of thoughts. So as this awake presence, we are not defined by these thoughts. They are appearing to us and we are receiving them. And just notice the qualities of this awake, open presence, which is receiving the sense fields and is receiving thought right now. Notice this inherent calm, groundedness, this sense of completeness that's already here. It doesn't need to be constructed or created. We're simply recognizing and enjoying it with no effort required. And you might feel this kind of pull to re-identify with this thinking, managing mechanism. But when you notice that happen, simply acknowledge this ego manager. You can even thank it for what it's trying to do, for trying to keep you safe. But you can then allow yourself again to relax from this grasping on thoughts and simply settle into this awake presence. And note right now what the relationship is from this presence to this thinking manager. We are not rejecting it. We are not discarding it. We are receiving the information of our thoughts, but we can operate now from this presence and just feel how this can relax the body-mind system. When we are not hooked on thoughts, there is this evening out of energy, we could say. And nothing is being lost. We are perfectly capable of functioning in the world. As a matter of fact, we are more capable now, because we are not confined by the framework of the thinker. We can simply take its information and act upon it wisely. And so whatever you do next, just do it from this simple, basic presence, and it will never let you down. It is very likely that through force of habit, we re-identify with the thinker, but as time goes on, increasingly we learn to trust and relax into this presence of awareness. We learn that moving the body, listening, speaking, And as a matter of fact, doing anything in life can be done from this effortless awake flow. There is never a need to identify with thought to get anything done. So just increasingly find yourself in this trust to relax and embody. And surely this will not let you down. So I hope this very simple practice was useful to you, and you can just find a way to integrate this into your day-to-day life. As I said, taking a few minutes early in the day to go through these steps in a kind of shortened way is very, very helpful. But then as you're going about your day and you're encountering different situations, just find yourself lightly and curiously remembering this presence which you are, this awareness which is receiving all of this. Relax into it and trust to flow from it until this becomes the norm, until peace and completeness is just very, very obvious, and the thinking manager no longer is your essential identity, but is simply something helpful that you are aware of.